All right, what's up, people? All right, haven't seen you in a long time because I've been studying for a couple finals that I have, and trying to get certified in my job. So that's what I've been doing. But over the course of the last few months, where I haven't been recording, I've seen a lot of things that I want to talk about, but none more so than this. I don't know, kind of reverse race baiting that's starting to go on in America. It's crazy. You know, back in the day when the term race baiting first came around, like, I'm not going to say it first started around Obama, but underneath Obama's presidential term, race baiting started getting thrown out there a lot. Every time a minority would say something is happening to them, every time I don't know, a white person would start saying white people are doing things to minorities, other white people, usually other white people, more often than not, would say, "Oh, stop race baiting. You're playing the race card." And yeah, pretty much that's what race baiting is, in their opinion, making a situation about race when it's not really about race. And so it usually had to do with people who look like me, or Hispanic, Latino, whatever you want to call it, Asian, Native, people like us being accused of race baiting or pulling the race card. But lately, I've been seeing an increasing amount of Caucasian people race baiting. It's hilarious. And those who actually pay attention to my channel, all two of you, all two and a half of you people, y'all know that I don't like complaining about race and like black people. I can only speak for black people because I'm black. I'm not any other minority. I don't like when black people complain and like blame everything on white people, blame everything on racism. So those of you who watch my channel know that. Like I said, all two and a half of you. So for everyone else, I'm telling you now, I'm not like that. I don't like race baiting. I don't like people pulling a race card every time something bad happens to them. A lot of times, bad things happen to you because A, life sucks, and B, you make poor decisions that you knew were going to lead to bad things. So you got to have responsibility for yourself and then your own actions. Still, I'm one of those black conservatives that nobody likes. You see, black people, for the majority, don't like me because they call me a coon and a sellout, or I want to be white because I hold my race accountable for the idiotic things that we do at times. And like I just finished explaining, I don't allow us to just lay all of our problems at the feet of the white man and say it's all his fault. Fix it, please. So the majority of blacks don't like me for that reason. And then the conservative whites don't like me because I still don't let them get away with racism when they do it. And so I'm kind of like in limbo, man. Like nobody likes me because I'm not gonna bullshit. I'm not gonna bullshit for either of you. I'm not gonna tell black people, yeah, it's white people's fault that this shit happens to us. Whitey owes us something. The big bad white man is the reason why you're stuck in the ghetto and shit like that. I'm not gonna say that. And I'm not going to let white people say racist shit around me and get away with it. I mean, if something's not racist, it's just a joke. Well, whatever, it's just a joke. But if you say some legit racist shit, I'm going to say, hey, that was racist. Apologize. And so a lot of white people think if you're a black conservative, that they can get away with saying a lot of things about your race around you. And then when they find out you have the backbone to still speak up for your race, they're like, "Well, I thought you were a conservative." Yeah, I'm just not a bitch either. You're not gonna talk about my race in front of me. And so this leads me to the point of whites pretty much trying to say that they're persecuted now. And the reason why this leads to this is because if you give them an inch, they take a mile. Pretty much, this follows that saying. So where I'm going with that is, in today's social media age, a lot of white straight males have come under fire on social media. Like if there is an LGBT discussion going on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you use, Twitter, and a white male inserts his opinion and it doesn't agree with the LGBT opinion that's being stated, probably 9 times out of 10, the first thing that person he's talking to is going to say back to him is, well, you're a white male, you're a white straight male, and you don't know what you're talking about, so your opinion is invalid. So that happens a lot. Like, it's happening more and more these days that online, white dudes are getting told their opinions don't matter. And so the crazy part is when you admit that, it's like, hey man, yeah, Blake, I know, man. Like, online, they're killing you, man. They're harassing you online. They won't let you debate anything just because you're a straight white male. It's messed up. When you say that to them, that's giving them an inch. They take a mile. Then they take that and blow it up to white dudes just are persecuted. Like, we're completely persecuted online and in real life. And to me, this is so crazy because, like, it's just online. White dudes are still out here winning in real life. Like, it's not bad to be born a white straight dude in this country today, but that's what they'll have you to believe online. And I spend a lot of time online in the YouTube community because that's what I do, and I like helping other YouTube creators, and I like watching their content. And so it's also, I mean, it's often discouraging when I start following other young conservatives, and be they black or white, and they start race baiting, like causing division. So I'm gonna bring up two videos and two YouTubers today, and what they'll do in the videos that I'm gonna show you is they'll use an example of something happening, like I said, like a white guy getting called out on Twitter unfairly. Like, that does happen. They'll use an example of that, and they'll talk about that, and then they'll slide in something about white people in general being hated. Like, there'll be no evidence of that, but they'll add it in there. And to me, this is very divisive. And like I said, it's discouraging, and it makes me lose respect for the person, because at that point I see him as a dishonest snake, because you took something that was real to reel people in and get them riled up, because rightfully so, people shouldn't be shut down online just because they're white and straight. And then you added some fictional stuff in there that's going to cause more division and hate. And it's the definition of race baiting, because nothing was said of the sort, and you added it with no proof and no evidence just to rile people up. And I've seen this a lot in the YouTube community lately, so that's why I'm talking about it here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at the couple of videos, and we're going to dissect them. Okay, so the first video I'm going to look at, it's called No Whites or Men Allowed. Marvel said so, and it's by a YouTube creator called Sydney Watson. And I've watched a lot of this girl's videos, and I've agreed with a lot of them when it comes to defending men's rights and stuff like that. So I thought this woman was pretty reasonable, and I subscribed to her, I don't know, a few months ago. I don't really watch her videos that much because she doesn't really post that much. And so, I mean, when she does post, I rarely watch. But everybody's been talking about Captain Marvel, so, I was like, okay, what's this chick got to say about it? I mean, so let's see.
Hey, white people and men, it's 2019. You know what that means? You're not welcome anywhere.
Okay, so this chick is pretty obvious. Like, the second video, it's a better example of somebody using some real stuff and then jumping into the race baiting. She starts off the video by race baiting, saying, your white people aren't welcome anywhere in 2019. Another thing about this girl is she lives in Australia. I guess her mom is from America, and so she's been here, but she's from Australia, and you'll see she's about to comment about American society.
Some of you may or may not be aware that there is a movie called Captain Marvel that is being released on the 8th of March. And because that movie has a female lead, people are already being pretty ridiculous about it.
Okay, so she's talking about Captain Marvel and the whole controversy with Brie Larson, okay, the star of the movie. But you notice how when she referred to Brie Larson, she said, and because this film has a female lead. She didn't mention anything about Brie Larson being white. It's funny because everything else she mentions in the video, she makes sure she notates the race involved. But she doesn't say Brie Larson is white because it wouldn't make sense for white-on-white racism. But let's continue.
So in my travels of the internet this week, I found this tweet which talks about white men haters. This tweet is basically trying to say that white men who are haters shouldn't come to see the Captain Marvel film because they will pollute the cinema with their toxicity.
Okay, so she just read a random tweet, which proves a lot of nothing really. Um, so yeah, it proves nothing. She read one tweet from a random person. We don't know. For all we know, she could have made this account and like made this tweet. Like now, obviously, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt and say that did not happen because it's definitely some people out there saying they don't want any toxic white males going to see Captain Marvel. So the thing I have to say about this tweet is, you guys know I don't like SJW stuff. I don't like SJWs. So the whole Captain Marvel debacle is funny to me. And people saying they don't want toxic white males at their movie, it's funny to me. I mean, but at the end of the day, it says they don't want toxic white males at their movie. Now, did they have to say white males? No, they could have just said toxic people. But they said toxic white males. They didn't say they didn't want any white males to go. But that's what she's interpreting it as. Let's continue.
Anyway, if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost entirely sure this exact same thing happened when the movie Black Panther was released. Except that it was people telling white people not to go see the movie because apparently, like, racism or something. I honestly lose track of the reasons why white people aren't allowed to do things these days.
Okay, so that's it for her video because that has the information that we need. All right. So first off, she says that she's pretty sure the same thing happened with Black Panther. Okay, so what is the same thing? That one tweet? No. What she's referring to is a lot of people are Brie Larson. We have to go back to Brie Larson. We have to talk about the whole Captain Marvel situation. Brie Larson came out and said that there need to be more female and more minority movie critics because a lot of movies aren't made strictly for the people who are reviewing them. She's referring to, in essence, a lot of movie critics are white males. And not all movies are made for a target audience of the same people. Some target kids, some target women, some target men. So she's saying that there isn't enough diversity in the film critic industry. Now, I don't want to get too far off track. I think this comment is stupid because I don't think anything is prohibiting women or women of color or anybody from being a film critic. There is no film critic school. There is no film critic club that matters. Anybody can be a film critic. I have a review video on my failing channel, and and I mean anybody can do it. All you have to do is either record a review, post it, or type it up, post it. So that nonsense by Brie Larson is what she's coming from in this video. And so since Brie Larson said that, she made some other comments about toxic white males and that not all movies are made for them. And so a lot of white guys felt attacked by this. Now, I feel like this is some reverse SJW shit, but hey, whatever. A lot of them felt attacked by Brie Larson, so they said they were not interested in seeing her movie. So what they were doing was they were going to Rotten Tomatoes, where you can review movies, or where you could post whether you were interested or not interested in the film. And they were going there and they were clicking not interested. And so it got to like 80% of people were not interested in seeing the movie. And so Captain Marvel came out and said this is review bombarding and it's totally political and it's just toxic white males doing it and all this stuff. And so that's pretty much where we are. And yes, the film was blaming the not interested meter on white guys. And so I guess when she says she's pretty sure the same thing happened with Black Panther, she's saying that Black Panther blamed white people for early reviews. I don't know. But anyway, she goes on to say that black people were saying white people can't see Black Panther because racism. Yeah, I mean, she kind of made it like a sarcastic joke, saying like she essentially didn't know why white people weren't allowed to go see it. But it's funny because in every joke, there's some truth. She didn't know why anybody would say white people can't go see it because nobody said that shit. And as I'm going to show on the screen, Black Panther made over $1 billion worldwide and over 700 million in the U.S. Now let's think about that, because they're always telling us that black people commit most of the crime in the U.S., although we're only 13% of the population. Okay, so let's do some quick math here. We're not really going to do math because I suck at it, but let's just do some obvious common knowledge. If we're only 13% of the population and we make a movie and it's full of black people, and then black people come out and say, hey, Whitey, don't go see this movie because you ain't black. And then white people don't go see it because obviously, why the hell would I go see a movie if somebody told me I can't go see it because I'm white? So they don't go see it. How the hell would the movie make $700 million in the U.S. where we're only 13% of the population? How would it make $1 billion worldwide where people outside of the U.S. who aren't white are bleaching their skin so they can look white? I mean, how would the film do that well if people came out and said, do not go see this movie because you're white? It's totally inaccurate. So what she did was she brought up how Brie Larson attacked white males unfairly because, like I said, anybody can be a film critic. No white dude is stopping anybody from being, any woman from being a film critic. So she brought up how, truthfully so, Brie Larson said she didn't want white males to go see her movie, white toxic males to go see her movie or whatever, or she didn't want white males reviewing her movie. And that's unfair. It's racist. And so it's a valid point that she brought up. And then she segued into Black Panther, saying, people were saying when Black Panther came out that you can't see it because you're white, which is totally false. So like I said, these people are with large platforms. She has a lot of followers on YouTube because she's white, she's conservative, and she's pretty enough. So she's like the Walmart Tommy Lauren on YouTube. So a lot of lonely ass white dudes follow her. But anyway, yeah, so she pretty much, like I said, she started off with something that was a true fact. Brie Larson's comments were unfair, and she segued into some BS that was not true at all. And that's how they're doing it, and that's very divisive in my opinion, because you're stirring up racial tension, because you get people riled up by something that was truly racist, was what Brie Larson said. She won it, and then you add some more incendiary, I don't even know how to say that word, man. You start off with something that's truly racist, which is what Brie Larson said, and then you insert incendiary comments that are not true, and it just adds more wood to the flame and fuel to the flame, and it makes people even more upset, and it causes division. So yeah, that's the model that a lot of these conservative people, white people on YouTube, are going with these days. I'm gonna just be frank with you. It's conservative whites who are doing it, and it's reverse race baiting, and it's hilarious. So we're gonna go to our next video. All right. So this video is called Chris Pratt's Church Triggers Ellen Page, and it's by a guy whose page I never subscribed to. This guy is full of shit, and his page is ironically called No Bullshit. Okay, so let's listen to that.
The liberals have been attacking Chris Pratt for not only committing wrong thing and not conforming to their liberal Hollywood norms, but also Chris Pratt is a pretty big Christian. And couple that with him also being straight and a white male, and woo, Chris Pratt's got all the things the left really hates these days.
Okay, so before this dude even gets into what he's talking about, he just lays out a list of reasons why he's persecuted, because his hero, Chris Pratt, is being attacked by the left because he's white, Christian, and a straight male. Straight, Christian, and a white male. Got to throw that in at the end. All right. So before he even says what happens, we're talking about Chris Pratt being a white male. So let's continue.
And that brings us to our latest controversy. Recently, actress Ellen Page attacked Chris Pratt for bringing up his church, claiming it's anti-gay people or something like that. For more information on this, let's turn to an article from Fox News called Chris Pratt Slammed by Ellen Page for Attending Infamously Anti-LGBTQ Church. Check this bullshit out.
Okay, so he finally gets into the meat and potatoes of why he's actually wasting our time today. All right. So Chris Pratt was on some television show, and he was asked about his diet, and he spoke about it. And that was it. And Ellen Page randomly, correct, she randomly attacked this man about his church that he goes to. She sent out a tweet and said, how about we ask him about the church he goes to because they don't like LGBTQ people. Something like that. The quote is on the screen. And literally, she sends out one more tweet, but I'm going to tell you right now, she don't mention white people, black people, or purple people at all. But let's see where this guy goes next.
Clearly, Ellen is gay, and she's an SJW type too, so first of all, your anti-whiteness is showing.
Oh, okay. So here we go. He says, it's just like, what? He says, this is very hypocritical. I don't know if I included that in the clip in the actual final video or not, but he starts off the statement with, this is very hypocritical because Ellen is clearly gay. And I'm scratching my head already because I'm trying to figure out how that's hypocritical anyway, based off what's happened so far in the story. But I'll let him continue. And he says, clearly Ellen is gay and your anti-white is showing. And I'm just like, what the actual, like, what? Like, what was anti-white about that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What exactly did she say that was anti-white? But he just randomly says your anti-white is showing. So this is another good example. He started off with Chris Pratt minding his own damn business on TV, talking about himself fasting, and then Ellen Page out of nowhere attacks the man and says, hey, look at where he goes to church. They don't like gay people. So there. And rightfully so. That was out of left field. Chris Pratt didn't deserve that. He didn't ask for that. And so she was wrong. She was probably just pretty bored. I mean, being rich and everything. And so he was right. That was unnecessary. And but then this idiot says your anti-whiteness is showing. And I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, I don't get it. And then this guy has, 551K subscribers. So he's influencing a lot of people with this nonsense. And it's like, are you serious? Like, you just said something that is a total lie. Like, you said some truth, and then you just swoop in with a total lie. And we're just going to, like Kevin Hart says, speed bump past it. Let's go.
Ellen Page attacks Chris and his church for supposedly being anti-gay, when really she's just being anti-straight and anti-white.
Oh my God. This guy says she attacks Chris for being anti-gay, when really she's just being anti-straight. I can't even speak clearly. This is so crazy. When really she's just being anti-straight and anti-white. Again, like, if anybody can show me where Ellen Page said anything in these two tweets, because that's the ones he decided to source and the ones he's talking about. I don't know if she's ever said any crazy off the wall shit before about white people. I'm talking about what she's saying now. What's in his video. And if anybody can show me where I'm missing the hidden verbiage, the invisible ink, where this girl said anything about white, brown, black, purple people, let me know, because she didn't, and this dude is saying that she's just being anti-white. Again, what the hell is he talking about? He's not talking about any facts. He's just adding, ironically, bullshit to some truth to rile people up, because he knows his audience. He knows his audience is a lot of people who might be racist, actually. And so he knows that he'll get more views if he makes it seem like the white race is under attack. And even though Ellen Page says nothing about white people, this dude is talking about her attacking white people. Let's continue.
Well. Funny you bring that up, Ellen, because you're actually part of an organization that hates a certain group of people yourself. In fact, you're perpetuating that hate against Chris Pratt right now. Believe it or not, but the SJWs and their affiliated organizations, they have proven to be anti-white people for years now, and also anti-straight. They attack us and call us racist and say white people have some kind of privilege, like we're to blame for everyone else's problems. You name it, and the SJWs have attacked white people for it, especially the straight males among us. So it's pretty damn rich when Ellen Page accuses accuses Chris Pratt of being supposedly associated with a hateful group, an anti-gay church, even though none of us have seen any proof of that whatsoever. So with all that said, this whole guilt by association shit that Ellen Page is trying to pull, it's not going to work on me. Unless you have some actual examples of Chris Pratt being anti-gay himself, which you don't, then I say it's time for you to shut your yapper, Ellen.
The idiot ends the video making a fool of himself for the final time in this video by stating that unless Ellen Page has some actual proof of Chris Pratt being anti-gay, that she should shut up pretty much. All the while, this moron was saying she was anti-white the entire video, while she not only is white herself, but she also never said anything that was anti-white. This is what I'm talking about, people. We can't allow this to happen on YouTube, man. Us creators, I know I've got a huge following, all 2.5 of my people, so I'm doing my part in putting out my video, but you guys gotta put out yours, because I mean, we can't allow this, in all honesty, this reverse race baiting crap to go on. I mean, he literally asked for proof when he lied about the girl with no proof in the whole video. I mean, like I said, just pay attention from now on. If you're a conservative like me, if you're a Democrat or whatever, just watch the people who you listen to and make sure they're not snakes and they're trying to manipulate you, because like I said, they'll often start off by telling something that's true and that was really unfair. Like I said, Brie Larson's comments were unfair to white men, and Ellen Page's comments were unfair to Chris Pratt. Both enough to get somebody upset, like, hey, that's not fair. And then both of them ended with something that was totally false, just to rile people up. No one in America said don't go see Black Panther because you're white. Maybe they did in Australia, where that girl's actually from. If that's the case, you should probably talk about Australia, because no one said that here. That's why it made so much money. And Ellen Page said nothing about white or black people at all in her tweets. Yet this guy said she was being anti-white. That's race baiting. That's all I got for you guys. See you next time.